Doosra Point, hosted by Paris and Mosul.
This could be victory. It is. Pakistan win the World Cup. India lift the World Cup. That's a big six.
Doosra Point.
3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Pakistan versus Australia T20
Hi.
series just finished.
Yeah, let's start with today's T20, and let's start with Saibzada Farhan. What do you think about him?
Yeah, very unimpressive for me. I thought he was all over the place, man. Obviously he looked a bit nervous, but shuru mein to his feet weren't moving at all. Matlab edges, ye wo, it was a bit all over the place for me. I mean, I think he probably still has maybe a little bit more to go, but generally speaking, I wasn't impressed.
I thought I'd disagree with you on that when I was watching him live, but I agree with you. I was not impressed. He looked very stiff. I understand there are always nerves, yeah, you're getting a shot, but he looked so one-dimensional. He either was trying to just hit it out of the park, or he was just struggling to hit it at all.
Even the commentator was saying at that point in time that you watch Babar Azam bat on one end, and he looks so in control as always as he does. And then you looked at Farhan, and he was all over the place. Kheli nahi ja rahi, edges ho rahi hain. So quite unimpressive. I mean, I thought he had a better sort of technique and stuff, but he looks like a classic T20 player.
Yes,
Like my one day test match पे नहीं खिला सकता, T20 ही खेल सकता.
मैं T20 पे भी honestly, if I was selected and if that's how he performed and if that's how he plays consistently, I would look for his replacement.
Yeah, probably.
Because he look, it's okay if you score less, but then in those 20 runs you show dimension, you show
Yeah, I mean,
your
he
different
scored.
angles.
I scored, yeah, but run a ball sort of 30 odd, but not, very impressive for his first innings. First true innings. I mean, obviously he got out very early in his last game, but not very impressed at all. Pakistan, I guess, in general speaking, did well. Bowling looked really lethal, yeah. They are on top of their game. Shadab, Imad, obviously, pehle over mein pita tha thoda sa, and he gave away 20 runs, but otherwise his economy rate was, pretty good. Variety, yeah. You talk about Fahim Ashraf, Hassan Ali, Shaheen Afridi, Shadab, and Hafiz bhi ab, beech mein aake kara sakta hai. So many options, so many variations, all very different kind of bowlers, right? Lefty, off spin, leg spin, slow, medium pacer, all rounder. So
Yeah.
I think that, multiple, variations and stuff, I think that's what did it, Australia. I mean, the scores weren't very high. 150, 160 was a winning score in the whole series, and they did just held. And Australia also looked, very one-dimensional themselves as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we haven't lost 11 series in a row. This was our 11th T20 series that we won. And that's because I think our bowling, as you said, you see that range, you see that variety in our bowling attack. But our batting is a different ball game altogether. I am still far from impressed. Even though, fine, Australians, they batted poorly than us, and that's how we won. मगर जो बीच के collapse हो रहे थे, I still don't get it.
It was consistent, at least, from
Yeah,
every single
exactly,
game.
yeah.
Every single game, there was like 4-5 wickets, towards the last 5-6 overs. Like, nobody scored from, Malik, I'll keep aside, he'll still perform most of the times, but Asif Ali, Fahim Ashraf, Shadab, Sarfraz hardly sort of batted in this innings, but those sort of, none of them scored.
And it's not that they all got good deliveries. I don't see any planning. They come in and they just want to just hit it out of the park. And
I mean, to a great extent, the situation of the match does require you do hit it out of the park, but you don't hit it out of the park from the first ball ever. Yeah, if you're even of a half decent batsman up, you get your eye in. I'm not saying you play 6 balls in T20s. You at least play 1 or 2 balls. Get a couple of runs, and then you get your eye in before you try to hit it out of the park, of course.
I think in T20 you have more time than you think you do. And these guys just come in thinking, oh, we need to get going right from the word score. What happens? You end up, so on one, there's a moment where it looks like you're about to score 180, 160, and all of a sudden you end up with 150 consistently.
I think in almost every single match, I thought they would score 170.
Exactly.
Even today, आज लग रहा था कि 160, 160 तो is a given. 170 maybe you can get to. You only got to 150.
Consistently again in all three T20s.
By the 12th, 15th over, it always felt like you could easily have another, 15, 20 runs by the time they ended the innings.
And my problem is, if you were playing against England or India, or one of those top sides, then I think you would struggle to defend 150 against India. You would struggle to defend 150 against England.
Yeah, the Australian batsmen were very unimpressive as well.
Very unimpressive.
I mean, they were also very one-dimensional. I mean, they're big names. I mean, Chris Lynn, Aaron Finch, Maxwell. I mean, these are very, sound T20 cricketers. I mean, they play all over the world as well. So it's not like they didn't have some stars. I mean, they did have some stars, but Baki were unimpressive. McDermott and the Marsh, and, they're not...
Someone on Facebook was saying that the way Australians are batting, it looks like they don't want that shitty Tuck trophy. I mean, like
that
Finch
trophy is
it's ridiculous.
It's probably the worst trophy I've ever seen in my life.
Man, seriously.
Yeah. But I'll tell you something. That's what you call marketing. Have we ever discussed a trophy ever in our lives? No, we're discussing this. So I'll give them A for marketing, but the trophy in itself, I agree. I'd rather give it to Australia, take it with you. That will not look good in a cabinet.
In good spirit, it's a goodwill gesture. Give it to them. But yeah, that's how. So Finch is a pretty good batsman, but the way he has gotten himself out in the series, he looks very ordinary. Maxwell, I think we'll talk about Asif Ali, but Maxwell is also struggling like Asif Ali is struggling. I think he's buried under his own reputation.
But Maxwell still at least scored a 50. He scored a 50 odd. He still once in a while at least scores. Asif Ali for me is not a comparison to Maxwell yet. He's nowhere close. I mean, he did well against in the Zimbabwe series, जो try series T20 की थी, उसमें थोड़ा सा उसने बेहतर खेला था. He had a 30 odd and 18 balls and a couple of more not outs. But when I look at sort of all of his innings so far, including Asia Cup, I'm like, I have a big question mark on him now.
I would drop him, honestly. I had a question mark on him always, because to me, it's not that he came into the side with some massive runs. He didn't. He had a few cameos in PSL and he was drafted in, which is fine. To me, I would drop him because Asif, he doesn't bowl. He's playing as a batsman, and I don't think he's good enough to play as a batsman.
Only as a batsman.
If he was an off spinner or something, and if you could get 6 overs out of him in one day and 3 or 4 overs out of him in T20, I would still risk him.
I mean, he's our version of a pinch hitter or someone who can come in and have a quick fire 25, 30. I think that's what his role is. So in T20s, maybe I give him a few more games, but no, I don't think he's cut out for one day international. So I don't think you pick him for one day. I agree with you. T20s, maybe again, you can, stick with him for a little bit longer. Maybe he plays the New Zealand series. Let's see how he does. But if he doesn't perform in the New Zealand series, he's surely not in the one day international squad. He shouldn't be. He didn't do anything in Asia Cup either. वही उसकी innings होती थी, एक छक्का मारा, out.
Yeah, he builds it
एक या दो मार दिए max, and that's it. I mean, his average is 20s में अभी है. That's also because he's had a bunch of not outs when he's come in the end. अगर वो आप निकालें, he's not even averaging 10. He didn't score. इस series में तो कुछ भी run नहीं किया.
He's a brilliant striker of the ball. I haven't seen a cleaner striker than him in the recent past in Pakistan. He's a very clean striker. He builds that hope for you. He comes in, he gets sixes, and then he pees on your hope and he just walks out. That's how it happens.
But I also feel that he plays against fast bowling much better than spin. He is all over the place against spin. अगर आप stats भी देखें, I'm sure you'll find out that against spin he can't really have that up tempo game and clean strikes. He's much better with fast bowling.
Relatively better than because he needs that pace. He needs to get underneath the ball.
Exactly.
Um, Again, very one-dimensional. He wants to hit a six on every delivery. That's his formula, which never happens. You will be caught out at some point in time, and that happens very frequently with him. So yeah, I wouldn't risk him. I wouldn't play him against New Zealand in T20s. I would rather bring Atala in because he also bowls medium pacers. He's an honest cricketer, not as good of a striker as Asif is, but I think a better utility cricketer than Asif for sure.
But yeah, it's I mean, batting in general, jo middle low order hasn't clicked in this whole series. It's always been Babar and Hafiz, obviously the two people who've scored majority of the runs.
Yeah.
But Babar Azam, man, he looks. One, I was a bit still surprised because he open bhi kara rahe, so he feels like they've changed his position around because he's moved around the order a bit. He's typically more one down, so they're now playing him as an opener. Of course, he's done pretty well. And I think his role in the team now is that you bat the innings.
Yeah, I like him opening the innings in T20s.
Yeah, exactly. So his role is you play at least 100% strike rate or more, and you bat the innings. And then everybody else will sort of rotate around you and hit around you, basically, I think. And it's sort of working because he's scored obviously 250s and stuff and काफी score किया है
and look, it makes sense because 20 overs बाकी हैं.
Because और कोई इतना लंबा रुकने वाला है नहीं team
Also, it suits his game style. He wants to come in and then just he wants to set before he goes for big shots, right? And that gives him enough time without feeling that guilt कि यार मेरे balls रोक रहा हूँ. He can come in, just feel a little bit and then get going.
Because if you talk about strike rates, right? So मैं देख रहा था कि strike rates in terms of our current squad. So of course Fakhar Zaman has the highest strike rate. So he's striking at about 141. Uski strike rate चल रही है in terms of his career average. Then it's actually Sarfaraz at 128. And then surprisingly enough, it's Babar Azam at 125. Actually, Shoaib Malik and Mohammad Hafiz and all of the others come below it. Asif Ali's strike rate higher, but his obviously work is very small.
Runs nahi.
But it's not a very high strike rate. Babar is right up there. So jo impression Babar ka hai कि he can be a bit slow and he takes his time. Actually, he's doing decent.
Yeah, that's a false perception just because he doesn't hit big sixes.
Big sixes, exactly.
And by the way, he has improved leaps and bounds in that department also. He's much more aggressive. His ability to get underneath the ball and hit it out of the park, I think he has improved a lot.
They were actually saying that he's been practicing his big hitting. So he's been making a conscious effort to actually improve his big hitting skill set. So, but even then, even if you look at Kohli is not like, you would hardly see Kohli hit big sixes. He only hits big sixes towards the end of the innings. But typically it's all about placements, and ball to the ground and not very, the pinch hitter sort, the classic Chris Gale type innings.
Yeah, and Kohli is also, he scores at a quicker pace than you think he is because he's maneuvering the ball, singles, doubles, and then bouncing.
Singles, doubles, and he's...
Babar is exactly in the same mold to me. Yeah. Well, Kohli is another level altogether. Babar is on his way, actually. I think there are levels to this game. And Babar and Kohli, I wouldn't compare them right now, but I'm just saying they have this potential to be a legendary batsman.
No, I'm a huge fan of Babar. I think he's so pleasing to the eye when he's batting, and even in this series, he was so comfortable on the crease, and it's good to see कि वो जो एक one dimensional था one days में, he takes his time. Obviously, test matches he hasn't really done too much yet, but he's now very comfortable in T20 environment as well.
Very cerebral. इसका मैं interview सुन रहा था, so it's not that he just talented in nothing else. जो हमारे पास बहुत सारे इस तरह के आते हैं. He actually he thinks it through. He talks about his game plan. You can see his balance is right. He's very crafty. He's not someone who comes in and just relies solely on his talent. And that tells me that he can be also your future captain. I'm jumping the gun here, But
बहुत ज़्यादा jumping the gun आपने कर दी है, but
जो सरफराज का चल रहा है, अगर if World Cup doesn't go according
he's
to the
very
plan,
young, man. He's like, you know,
Graham Smith, man, how old was Graham Smith? 24, 25?
yeah, maybe
But
too young for that.
But I'm going to backtrack on that. But I'm saying he's your most valuable player by far.
In batting, no doubt, no doubt, he is you know your backbone right now.
He's your best batsman. He's a very safe fielder. Again, all these things are he's very underrated because he doesn't have that presence. But fantastic batsman. How often do you see him drop catches? I haven't seen him drop catches.
No.
So he's very
He's
safe.
not your Hafiz or Hassan Ali. Or,
हाँ.
आज भी fielding वैसे it's been a little bit up and down. I would say generally it's been very good actually, very good.
Yeah.
Runouts किए
I
हैं and even the ground fielding, yeah. It's I you know you see Shadab diving all over the place, Fahim Ashraf diving all over the place, even Shoaib Malik at 37. Did you see his catch today? Superb, man. I mean,
brought all his experience.
Brought all his
and
experience.
The way, आपने देखा जब वो land कर रहा था, so he had his elbow kind of sticking out. Came ball
it doesn't
वो
bounce
ना-
out.
bounce
Doesn't
ना हो
bounce.
जाए.
It's a technique, right? So, you know, the fielding is. I think this is by far the best Pakistan fielding side I've seen in ever. I would say.
Especially after Asia Cup because they were horrible in Asia Cup.
Asia Cup member, they dropped a lot of catches, so it's good to see. Actually, I thought that was an anomaly for me
because they
in
were
recent
improving before
in
that.
recent, even statistically, they're the best catching and fielding side in the recent times for Pakistan. That is, you know, something unheard of, and to see that is good. आज भी खैर थोड़े हलवे catch छोड़े हैं. मतलब
दो छोड़े हैं,
a few
okay.
dollies, man.
One of your, two of your youngsters. So
हाँ, exactly. It's
Fahim
not like
Ashraf and Hassan Ali.
Hafiz or Shoaib Malik or
and
someone.
Very simple catches.
Very simple
like
catches.
sitters.
Where they're catching very difficult ones, they're also dropping some very simple ones. I don't know. It's Hassan Ali tends to drop catches, man. I have a feeling. I don't know if you have that feeling.
I actually haven't seen him drop too many catches. He's young, and
But
he's
Hassan
a
Ali is
lapsed in
also
call.
going under the radar a little bit. You know, this high of Champions Trophy and all those, you know, strike rate, this, that. Over the last 6 months, we haven't talked about Hassan Ali because he hasn't done shit.
He hasn't done enough. And I get a feeling he's carrying some injury. If you notice, in Asia Cup also, he has some ankle problem. It's not public yet. It's all my observation, so I can be completely off on that. But I've seen him more than one occasion, him all wobbly, limping, and then telling Sarfraz मैं और करा लूँगा. I've seen that happen twice. So I don't know how fit he is. He's been bowling for a very long time now.
Yeah, true, but it's not like he played the test matches either. So it's not like he hasn't had downtime, man. He's more of a white ball specialist. So he's playing only the T20 and one international. He's not playing test matches.
He played test matches in England.
He played test matches in England, but I mean, England could be time ho gaya.
हाँ.
So he's not your first choice test bowler.
He's not, yeah.
He's not. So he's not in अगर injury है या कुछ है, he certainly feels off. He's certainly not at the level he was obviously in the Champions Trophy. He became the #1 bowler. He's come down the ranks. You know, I don't know if this is back to reality and that was a bit of a high. I sure hope not, but yeah, he's not.
I also have a theory when the world recognizes you as a superstar, then they start playing you very carefully also. So you go through a point where everyone is now watching out for you, and you don't have the same impact unless you top it up by bringing in some new deliveries. So is very inexperienced. He's very emotional. You can tell he's a very emotional cricketer. और वो नजर आता है उसकी बैटिंग में भी उसकी फील्डिंग में भी. Moment of brilliance here and then he drops a sitter like he did today.
Yeah, exactly. So
और ये मसले यंग साइड से होते हैं. शादाब एकदम से हेयर स्टाइल चेंज होना शुरू हो जाता है, लाइफ स्टाइल में चेंज आता है,
gold chain आ जाती है.
gold chain आती है, and then you need a little smack on your butt.
And the few that you know जिनको बिल्कुल ही सर पे चढ़ जाती है, जिस तरह अहमद शहजाद है, हमारे फेवरेट उमर अकबल है, you know, such wasted talents. उनका तो बिल्कुल ही दिमाग खराब हो जाता है.
हाँ, मुझे वो इमाद में नजर आता है. I know I've said this before.
You've said this before, but I have seen a different Imad this time. So एक तो Imad की बात कहते हैं. He's obviously had Man of the Match awards. He's done really well in this series. जो bowling के रात मैंने last time भी कहा था कि Imad he's coming back for a long time. So it's good to see him play, but he also looked much more fitter than the last time he played for Pakistan. So he's lost a little bit of weight. He looks more agile, looks a bit slimmer, looks a bit more fitter. Bowling me, I had never any doubts as such because he's that skid. He's got a customer with the new ball. You know, it sort of comes in and doesn't turn that much, but it skids through, and then he has the variation of pace quite well, and he's always on the money as in wicket to wicket bowler. So it's like you can't take him granted in that sense. को आपको कोई loose delivery outside off stump तो मिलने वाली नहीं है. It's always going to be wicket to wicket. And then he has good variations in that skin. And
slider.
Slider and skiddy customer. So that's why obviously he picked up quite a few wickets in the series. And batting for me still Ahmad is, I have no idea. Itna chance nahi mera, jo bhi chance mera, he didn't do anything. That's still a suspect area. He's known to be a big hitter, but
I haven't seen that.
I haven't really seen that. Like even today, Sarfraz never came out to bat. He sent Ahmad, he sent all the others. Khud to aaya nahi bat karne.
Yeah.
So that also was a bit surprising to me. कि उसने सारों को भेज दिया, आसिफ को भेज दिया, फहीम को भेज दिया, इमाद को भेज दिया, खुद नहीं आया बैट करने. So either he was trying to give them some playing time, but I expected Sarfaraz to come in a bit earlier, especially like Asif Ali's out of form. Fahim Ashraf played made 17 odd runs in the last match, but he also hasn't done a lot batting wise. So it was a bit surprising for me that he khud nahi aaya batting.
I was surprised too, especially when he has one of the better striking rates.
He has one of the better striking rates
in your lineup.
In your lineup, and he कि आपका middle order भी थोड़ा.
I think the situation was tailor made for him because he can knock it around.
He can knock it around. And इस wicket पे, this is not the India wicket jam 250-200 run बना रहे हैं. So you're never going to get that kind of high scoring games.
True.
It is a wicket where you nudge it around, एक आध चौका मार दिया, एक आध छक्का मार दिया, but it's more like nudge around, play the gaps and stuff, because the ball is, रुक के आ रही है, skid हो रही है या spin हो रही है. Cutters and variations, all that really come into play in the UAE wickets.
So to me, he should have come up the order. But going back to Imad, तो इमाद की bowling से मुझे कोई मसला नहीं. He's a typical left-hand bowler who, as you say, I want to repeat, जो wicket to wicket है सारा कुछ. Batting जो एकदम tag जो लग जाता है ना कि he's your best all-rounder. And my only problem with that is कि जब आप किसी को उस पर उधर ले जाते हैं, फिर आपकी team chemistry खराब इसलिए होती है because you then start treating them, आपकी team selection उस पर आती है कि यार he will bat. But in reality, that guy will not bat because he cannot bat.
Yeah, so, it's like you have expectations from Shadab all of a sudden.
Exactly.
When Shadab is not a batsman.
And Shadab is coming up the order, 6th number pe, as your main or one of the
in Asia Cup.
In Asia Cup.
Seriously?
And you fell flat on your face.
You need some specialist, yeah.
Yes.
So I also felt कि जब आप T20 squad देखते हैं, so besides Babar, Fakhr and Hafiz and Shoaib Malik, these are the 4 batsmen. उसके बाद सारे कुछ all-rounder types हैं.
Because Fakhr is still, even though he's got a double 100 and this and that, but still a question mark.
Hit and miss.
He's not a very attractive, aggressive.
I was a bit surprised that they dropped him today because he wasn't, it's not like he scored 150 and stuff. Test match में थोड़ा score किया था, but he only played the first test match. And he hadn't scored in the first 2 games. So to drop him in this one to play Farhan, I would have maybe even rested someone else. Asif Ali ko bitha dete ya kisi aur ko. I would have wanted Fakhr to actually play and get going because you have 3 more T20s coming up back to back with New Zealand. New Zealand ki T20 series is starting in 3 days. 31st ko pehla T20 hai.
Look, I don't know if he was half injured or something.
I don't think
rest
so.
करा दिया उसको. नहीं कभी कभी जो niggles भी होता है ना कि आप injured नहीं, you could have played मगर
yeah, otherwise the logic doesn't hold.
Also to make a statement कि यार मतलब you have players knocking on the door, so better be here.
With Farhan, I'm not sure if you're knocking on the door.
It's a different discussion.
Or
who's knocking on the door?
Or maybe out the door.
Yeah. नहीं, because I think we had already won the series before this match.
Yeah, you could afford.
थोड़े casual हो गए थे.
Afridi नहीं खेला. Shinwari again is a decent bowler, so it's good. Yeah. It's good to rotate around, especially if you had won the series. It would have been also not right कि आप वही 11 खिलाते. When you have a squad of 15-16, then I think if you won the series, it's good to groom the youngsters and give playing time to the others that are also in the squad. Also to test your bench as well कि कोई injury हो जाए कल. So it's important to do that. Hafiz played again well. I mean, he played well in the T20 series. हम टेस्ट मैच में बात कर रहे थे कि एक सेंचुरी मारी then it was disappeared. Actually in T20 he's played well. आज भी he played with a good strike rate. So it wasn't that bad.
Hafiz to me was the classic Hafiz. He's been a classic Hafiz in the series also. He looks good. He always looks
उसका
good.
जो एक छक्का होता है ना जो वो स्पिनर से निकल के मारता है. It's always very good, very pleasing.
Hafiz
अच्छा
हमेशा
खेलता
से I've hardly seen Hafiz struggle to time the ball. He's a fantastic timer of the ball, clean striker सब कुछ है मगर application. कि अगर 100 मैंने आज मार लिए तो कल मैं 100 नहीं मारूंगा. मैं कल नहीं.
ये नहीं हो सकता. ये नहीं हो सकता.
तो वो एक मसला है. Imad पे last था कि he needs to drop that post-wicket celebration जो Ronaldo से उसने मारी हुई है. I think he needs to drop it, man. That is so disgusting.
कि अपना originality तो दिखा दे.
हाँ, मतलब Hassan Ali has his own signature. Look, we watch football also, so don't fool us.
Maybe he's a big fan.
हाँ, कुछ tattoo करा ले ऊपर, लेकिन celebrations जरा अपनी लेके आए. Anyway, that's a personal thing. It's irrelevant as long as he's taking wickets.
But it was good to see him back, I guess.
Yeah.
Fitter and stuff. But I still, उसकी position अभी भी मुझे कभी-कभार confusing लगती है because वो उसकी batting is still suspect for me.
हाँ, ये मैं भूल गया था कि फिर आपको खिलाएं as a spinner. जब आप 11 बना रहे हैं तो आप कहेंगे ये एक bowler है और फिर आप 4 bowlers और लेके आते हैं. Don't treat him कि यार ये आपको 50-60 runs.
I also thought कि they underbowled Hafiz a bit.
I think they're afraid of his suspect or action के ऊपर. They don't want to expose him too much.
आज भी उसने जब lefty आया carry आया and 20 run पड़े.
Looked good.
Sarfaraz came in with Hafiz immediately and immediately out.
हाँ. He looked good, but
he's always good against lefties. That's
थोड़ा सा वो psychological मेरे ख्याल से वो है कि क्योंकि वो हमेशा आता है wickets लेता है and then somehow he gets exposed. I'm not trying to imply कि कोई मसला नहीं है action में मगर वो
no maybe
because
but his action didn't look too bad but कभी कभार होता है
हाँ,
कि
मसला है कि जब when you get carried away 2 wickets आ गई हैं you want the third one फिर कहते हैं यार the good old days एक करार से कौन दे
जरा सा झटका दे
हाँ और फिर उसमें कौ को पकड़ लेता because now you have bloody 30 cameras from all angles
that's true.
Watching you
and he's been called multiple times.
How often can you remodel your action?
There's a limit to it as well. So I think वो जो natural होता है आपका एक bowling action, it's very hard to break that. Especially, I mean, if he was 20 years old, then I would say it's much easier to redesign, remodel your action. When you're 37, you've played, you're towards the tail end of your career. अब क्या वो remodel करेगा? It's like Saeed Ajmal को remodel. He could never do it, man. He could never do
it. That's true. I don't want to quote कि किसने कहा था, but I heard someone who's authority saying कि जो दूसरा है for an off spinner, you cannot bowl there with a straight arm. It's just not possible.
No, you can't. No, that's what they say.
तो मसला यहाँ पे आ रहा है और wickets वहीं से off spinners weren't so sexy before दूसरा. If you remember
so you
that.
think Murali was...
Murali to me was a chucker, honestly. if you ask me, Murali was a chucker. फिर आप कहते हैं hyper extension है कौन measure कर रहा है वहाँ पे but he clearly there was a bent in his elbow now whether he
but
was
he did have hyper extension
you call it hyper extension or whatever but Shoaib Akhtar के लिए भी था कि उसकी भी hyper extension है
he could literally take his arm all जैसे हमारा elbow पे आके रुक जाता है he could go literally much much further because of his hyper extension in his elbow so now what happens with that is that his arm doesn't actually stop here. It stops, stops much later on rather than sort of when you extend your hand, it's straight. His hand would extend a bit further down, so it's not a complete straight. So when he bowls, visually to the eye, it does feel like he's chucking, or he's throwing, but it isn't. But Murali, I don't disagree with. I think if he was playing in this day and age, he would have been called and he probably wouldn't have made the cut.
मेरा उस पे काफी extreme view है वैसे जिस तरह मेरे बहुत सारी चीजों पे including ball tampering. For spinners, just let them bend a little bit. Who cares, man?
आप समझे कि fast bowler वैसे उसकी degrees अलग होनी चाहिए.
हाँ, spinner है. Fast bowler में आपका argument क्या है कि it's dangerous for the batsman.
I don't think it's
take a step the argument ये ना कि सामने hard ball लग जाएगी.
I mean it's not hard ball. I think it's more just technique. It's the rules of the game, man. It's more than that. It's not about.
Then if you're a purist, then
It's
I
a
don't
purist thing.
listen.
It's
If
a
I had
purist
one,
thing.
if I had one leg, I wouldn't play cricket, right? So if you have hyperextension, don't bowl. You can have that line also,
Yeah.
because
but
then it becomes very murky. फिर आपके वो contemporary 30 degree कितना है और 80 degree कितना है. Once you open that floodgate,
yeah,
then it's
exactly.
up for
So
discussion.
that's why they're saying they keep it purist, huh? So
Then don't
said,
have. So because Warren was absolutely clean with his action. Saklan
Absolutely.
Stark was absolutely clean with his action. Unless when he was bowling Doosra. Anyway, Saklan was the cleanest of all the off spinners.
Of all the off spinners who bowled the Doosra.
Yeah.
I mean, Murali for me was always his arm was mostly bent. Yeah, I don't think he stretched it out. सीधा तो होता ही नहीं था उसका हाथ.
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं होता था. I don't buy that, man. Hyperextension में आप वो कर रहे हैं. It's one of those PC thing कि मैं hyperextension है तो मैं ऐसे करा सकता हूँ.
वो तो सीमेंट पे स्पिन करा लेता था बंदा. I think सीमेंट पे भी वो स्पिन कराए Murali. He was such a
But the
prodigious
argument
spinner
is,
of the ball.
I had this argument with my friend कि मुरली की इतनी 1000 wickets जो थी, was that because he was a big spinner of the ball? Because ये जो hyperextension thing, he was spinning more.
Yeah.
Nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Or because he was just a genius. He knew where to pitch. He had the control.
Of course. No, I'm not. Don't. I mean, he was a good bowler in that sense.
Yeah.
He knew how to take wickets with obviously whatever he. With the Doosra and the amount he's
Or
spun
the
the
setting
ball,
backspin up.
Setting back, of
So
course, yeah. It was.
So yeah,
He
I
was a
mean,
smart cricketer.
on one hand I can shit on his action, but he was a legend, man.
He's a legend in Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but coming back to Pakistan, Australia, but good. So this is the first, like you said, 11th, 10 series in a row, 11th one now. This is the first time actually we've beaten Australia 3-0 and a whitewash in any white ball cricket. So that's also somewhat an achievement. Again, Australia very unimpressive. They didn't win a single game through the tour. They actually should have lost every single game. It was the first test. They just managed to scrape through. Otherwise, it would have been a 5-0 both test matches. I think it should have been that, and that's pretty much what the scoreline should have been. But very ordinary.
It was a winless
very ordinary
series for them.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, at times I feel like, even when we went down to Australia, we at least won one game.
Yeah.
One day national हम जीत के आए थे. We obviously got beaten in most of the games as well, but we have returned the favor.
Yeah.
So, जो comments होते थे Australia में, oh, we shouldn't, have Australia tour because it's not good for publicity and tours and this and that. I could argue the same, right? Maybe we shouldn't invite Australia because they always get beaten in Asia. Last series we beat them easily. This series as well.
Yeah.
So again, the home field advantage for me has become a bit of a thing. It's like no touring side wins now. It's always the home side. I would say 9 out of 10 times the home side wins.
It'd be a very interesting stat. There's a massive advantage to.
It's a massive advantage
to a host.
There's theories out there that maybe you should give the toss should go away. The touring side should always should always have the choice to either bat or bowl as a touring side, so you don't actually have a toss. That's an interesting thought for me because you neutralize the home field advantage to an extent. Toss plays such a crucial role especially in test matches. Like in UAE test matches, I feel like the moment you win the toss, you bat first no matter what. Even you don't know, the pitch could be green as hell, but in UAE you will always bat first because on the 4th, 5th day, it's impossible to survive,
to chase
whatever you're chasing. So, and mostly whenever Pakistan has lost, has actually been when we haven't batted first. So, and Sarfraz obviously won the toss most of the times in the series, and we've batted first. I also thought it would be better for us to actually in this T20 for a change if we won the toss to actually chase.
100%. I agree.
Because you've won the series. I agree to an extent. Yes, if you bat first, you should, do what your strength is, which is put a score on the board and then bowl. We never are good chasers, but you need to break that as well.
It's also part of your preparation.
It's part of your preparation because you're not going to win the toss every time. So every time you lose a toss, then mentally you're screwed because you're chasing and you're not a good chaser and you don't have the practice. It's a different ball game, and we've never been good chasers. So I feel like we need to build that as a core strength as well. Okay, it's not just up average score parana and the bowling will do your job.
Yeah. No,
Let's turn the tables. Let the bowling do the job and let the batsman chase.
You should prepare for all possible scenarios that can happen in the game of cricket. When you have the opportunity. Today we had a classic opportunities. You had the series. Who cares if Australia lost 3-0 or 2-1?
Yeah, exactly.
It
wouldn't have been a big deal.
And not that you were going to lose it for sure if you chased also.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, on the whole, I think it was a good series.
Yeah, it was a good series.
But if you want to improve, there are some gaps, very visible gaps.
Yeah, the middle low order is probably the biggest concern coming out of the series. New Zealand ki series start ho rahi hai. They actually haven't formally announced the squad yet.
I'm surprised.
Because the matches are literally a couple of days ago. Maybe they play the exact same squad, and don't make any changes. So will be interesting to see how they perform against New Zealand, especially the middle low order, because they didn't click this time. Bowling obviously I think is in really good shape, fielding in really good shape, except for the odd sort of drop catches. But otherwise overall good outing.
Yeah, there's only one question that you need to answer, as you said, and that's batting.
Yeah.
You fix your batting and you're a pretty good side now.
Yeah, exactly. So full series New Zealand keep coming up. So three T20s, 5 one-days, 3 test matches. So they'll play now from here till December. They'll be playing against New Zealand in UAE, and soon after then they head to South Africa. So it's going to be action-packed.
It's going to be a
cricket.
Yeah,
and busy cricketing season
between New Zealand and Dubai and South Africa. It's going to be a massive change of flavor for them.
Oh yeah, it'd be a true test of abilities.
It's irrelevant what happens in Dubai. If you're talking about what can happen in South Africa.
Completely irrelevant. Although the last time we toured, we won the one-day series 2-1, which was quite a while back. But so it was. You never know. Let's see.
Yeah, and that's also a full series in South Africa. So that's going to be interesting.
That's also 5 one-days and 3 test matches. So it's going to be a good test for the boys.
Yeah, coming back to New Zealand, there's not much to talk about the series, but what is your prediction? All 3 formats.
All 3 formats. I think we win the series, T20 series 2-1, 3 T20s. I also think we win the Test match series 2-1. One-day series will be more closer. I think that'll be probably a 3-2 sort of thing. But I expect still for us to win. But we could lose the one-day series as well, 2-3.
So for me, T20, I would say 2-1. I agree. 2-1 Pakistan. Test series, I think 3-0 Pakistan. And one-days, I think it's anyone's series because New Zealand is always a force to reckon with. Doesn't matter where you're playing, what format. But I think Pakistan, I agree with you on that, 3-2.
Test series, the reason why I don't say 2-1 is because I still feel the batting is still not quite there yet for me. So let's see.
Yeah, I don't see New Zealand also batting really well.
Yeah, I guess Asian conditions is going to be tough for them.
So you have them leeway in margin of error. Even if you collapse, your bowling
will make
but
it
again, if there's one side I would never take lightly, that's New Zealand.
But that was the case. We always took New Zealand lightly. But this is the recent New Zealand teams where, the last 5 years, 10 years, where they've really come a long way. Otherwise, it was always known Pakistan plays New Zealand, we always beat them. Always.
Here in
irrespective, we always beat them. But they, earlier this year, they beat us 5-0 in New Zealand. So, ab hamari bari hai to return the favor. So, it'd be nice to actually come out with a victory in the at least in the one-day series. One-day series will be much closer, I think. And we have especially if I look at the Asia Cup.
You lost to Bangladesh.
You lost to a second string Bangladesh, not just Bangladesh. It's a second string Bangladesh. Yeah. So I think T20 short is a different format completely. One-day international, different game. And I think we still have a lot to prove because of our Asia Cup debacle.
And more or less, you have the same side, side for one-days also, and that gives me sleepless nights, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Because half the players for me are not one international. Asif Ali and all of these guys are not proper
Yeah.
batsmen. You're playing them as
Not
proper
mature
batsmen.
enough to play that longer format yet.
Exactly. So I still think they need to do some changes. So hopefully they'll make some changes in one day squad. Maybe get a few new folks in and new players in. But let's see. We'll I guess talk about it once the squads get formally announced.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, India versus West Indies. Last time we said there's no way in this world. I said there's no way in this world West Indies is winning anything here in India.
You actually said they have no business playing India.
I said they had no, and I was super happy because I've always been a fan of West Indian cricket, the flair, the flamboyance. They lost the first one. That's when we spoke about them.
Yes.
Then they tied. It was a fantastic match of cricket. I think
High scoring.
High scoring. Last ball, 5 runs.
Yeah, chauka maar diya.
Chauka maar diya. And then they won.
Yeah, even with a Kohli 100.
They defended 280.
So Kohli obviously the freak show is clean. So
I think he should be banned. I think he should be banned. He's just bad for cricket right now.
I mean, he's again scored 300s back to back. He's one of the few that have been able to do that. And he's now, batting records ki hum baat kar rahe the, he is not going to leave any batting record.
I don't think there's any batting record right now.
Kohli ka
which is
naam
safe.
now top 5 mein at least, or top 3 mein, or number 1. I think by the end of his career, he'll be number 1 in everything.
I think
So
he's number 1 right now.
He's probably, statistically speaking, he's just too good, yeah.
He just scored 10,000 runs in one days, beating Sachin Tendulkar's
No, we
record.
talked about that.
And 50 matches kam khele the, or something in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
that number.
exactly. And he's scored already in 3 matches 400 runs. His average is 202 in this series right now.
With a strike rate of 113. So it's
Yeah.
not that he's playing for himself.
Not better than run a ball. So he is a class. He is the best batsman to play for a long time, for decades, or maybe for greatest ever.
I think he's been the best Indian batsman ever, and I'll tell you why. If you compare Tendulkar's record in India versus on foreign grounds, you would see a split. This guy also plays really well in Australia or South Africa or England.
But his blemish was in England. He hadn't scored, and he fixed that this last series, where he scored a couple of hundreds in test matches and was the highest run scorer in the series actually from both sides. So he's fixed that, and he's now going to Australia. With this Australian team, I wouldn't be surprised if actually India, I would say if India doesn't beat Australia this series without Warner and Smith and all this in Australia, it'd be a bit of a
I
disappointment.
think we spoke about it, and I still think Australia beats India in Australia test matches.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But I still think, having played Australia right now and seen what the players they have, I have a doubt. I'm still not sure. Okay, obviously Australia is a different ball game, and we talked about home field advantage being huge these days. It'll still be very difficult, but I personally think if India doesn't beat them this time, then to phir aap bhul hi jaye.
I wouldn't say this has been the strongest Indian side, but this has definitely been the weakest Australian side.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
That's your opportunity.
But no, I know West Indies, the flair and the new guys. Hope though I've seen play, and
But they hit Meyer.
Yeah, hit Meyer is a big hitter. Huh?
And I was talking to you before the podcast कि एक होता है जो पूरा बैट्समैन का follow through है, जैसे bowler का follow through होता है, बैट्समैन का follow through होता है और high back left और बैट एकदम पीछे तक जाता है short खेलने के बाद. That's something which is missing now these days in cricket because it's a very expensive way of batting.
Yeah, but the West Indies
Indies
batting,
still do that.
West Indies batting style is still very unique. You can always tell when a West Indies players batting. उनका अपना एक तरीका है खेलने का and the
full-blooded cover drive.
Exactly, and high back lift and this and that. So really good to see because West Indies cricket has obviously been pretty poor and rankings wise not winning. I mean losing almost every other game. Bangladesh se Afghanistan se haare hain, Bangladesh se haare hain. So they've come at such a low point. And you think about the West Indies of the greats like Viv Richards and Haynes and Greenidge and Lara and Ambrose Walsh. I mean they have such a strong history and such great players. To actually see West Indies cricket come down to this point has been quite depressing to see West Indies cricket जो इतना मशहूर था to come to this low So they need to win such series. You know, if they end up beating India, now they said 1-1-1, one match, it's all tied, 2 to go. I think it'd be a great uplift for them because they need such victories. Otherwise, you know, West Indies cricket might not last very long. Popularity drops and stuff, and people stop watching the game. So it's very important even for cricket because बात कर रहे थे कि हम 10 तो टीमें खेलती हैं उसमें से अब West Indies is also not performing. It's not good for the game.
It's not. I 100% agree with you. But it's good. It's good for cricket if they win the series. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying because India is playing. I would say the same if Pakistan was playing. Moving on. So before we wrap up, I want to talk to you about the whole match fixing.
Yes.
It's interesting, right? The media is not covering that.
हाँ media लगता है India control करती है ना media तो.
So, yeah, it's very unusual coverage, which is no coverage.
It's been a bit low key, although when we're reading about it, जो bookie है, and he had called a lot of the games correctly.
He's calling those games correctly. Masla ye ke, and I saw this documentary and I saw the previous documentary by Al Jazeera. और they're also not very convincing in their argument. वो एक side दिखा रहे हैं कि this Anil Munawar guy who's apparently Dawood Ibrahim's frontman or whatever for match fixing. He's talking to players, but कोई इतने solid corroborative evidence नहीं है कि यार उन्होंने एक तस्वीर चला दी विराट कोहली की अनिल मुनव्वर के साथ. Now Virat Kohli is a star, and that picture looks like Virat Kohli when he was very young. When you're a star, anyone can just stand next to you and get a picture. So that's not an evidence.
No, it's not
right?
evidence at all.
Just because it's a picture. So
Anil Munawar might be a bookie who takes bets for the game and stuff. But that could be about it. He could brag about knowing and having match fixes and stuff. But proof is in the pudding, as you said.
Yeah, a booking in itself is not a criminal act. It's when you start fixing matches, and they're claiming that fancy betting or spot fixing ho rahi hai. My personal view is it's damn hard to fix matches in the today's day and age, where there's no privacy, it's all teched up. It's hard for you to throw a match. But let's see what Al Jazeera does after this, whether or not they can back it up with some evidence. Mark Wood, England bowler, he's decided to sue Al Jazeera for
I wouldn't be
airing
surprised.
this.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So, anything else?
Then we'll look forward to the New Zealand series now. Australia wrapped up. Hopefully we'll wrap up New Zealand as well. So I'm sure we'll do another podcast soon after the T20 series. We'll wrap it up and talk about the One International Test series coming up against New Zealand. So we'll talk then.
Yes, absolutely. Until then, goodbye.
Six.